Welcome to the Rick Fuller Podcast, presented by Rick Fuller, the team leader of the Rick Fuller team, which serves the San Francisco Bay Area and Sacramento County. Rick and his team have over 1,000 five-star online reviews and have been honored as a distinguished small business by the California State Senate and Assembly. Rick is a community leader, national real estate coach, and real estate investing expert. I'm Christina Morales, a writer and marketing specialist, and today we're going to learn from 10 of the top agents and the hottest markets across the country. This is a Rick Fuller Podcast special event, and we're excited to have all of our guests with us. And Rick, you recently came across an article in USA Today, and it was titled, "Home prices rose by more than 50% in these 10 markets since 2017. And these are all hotspots where we've both seen a ton of Californians go, and they're thinking about relocating to. So we decided to bring some of the best agents from these communities onto our podcast. And I mentioned earlier that you're a national real estate coach. So these are incredible agents that you've either worked with or they're part of these elite coaching groups also. And you also had this great idea, like we said, Californians are moving out of state. We have a website called rixpros.com, and we have over 115 agents on there where people can go shopping for communities and agents. So we have a lot to cover. We have these amazing experts taking time out of their busy schedules. Welcome everyone to our podcast. So Rick, can you tell us a little bit about this article that prompted today's episode? Can you give us a little bit of an overview of the real estate market today? You keep saying these are unprecedented times. Can you tell us why that's so?
Well, absolutely, Christina, and thank you for all of our guests that have joined us. I think this is going to be a really great conversation about what's happening across our country, border to border. We are living in unprecedented times. Never before have we seen home values rise at the rates that they are across the country. We've not seen the minimal number of homes for sale or low inventory like we've seen across the country. Low interest rates, rising price of lumber and material and supplies, supply chains broken from COVID, and warehouses that are not producing windows and roofing material and all the things that you need to build new homes. Decades of not enough construction that have occurred, and all of this has created this unprecedented time. And this article described 10 states that have gone up significantly in value. Christina, do you have that article readily available?
I do.
And so I invited some of our colleagues from across the country to speak about what's happening in their community. So if you're watching this and you're interested in a particular area, they'll be able to address that. You can get more information about everybody that's on the call at rixpros.com. So here's one of the articles that came out. We saw it in USA Today. We saw it in Yahoo Finances. Home prices rose by more than 50% in these 10 markets since 2017. Rapid appreciation, usually on leveraged funds, because most people borrow money to buy a property, they mortgage it. And so we invited people from these states to help speak intelligently about what's actually happening in the local market. And so Boise City, we've got Washington, we've got Utah, we've got Florida, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Indiana, our home state, Christina, of California, what's happening in Stockton and Lodi, unheard of, Colorado, and Arizona. So I'm excited to hear from each of our guests about what they're seeing. They're boots on the ground, they're local economists, they're working with clients on a day-to-day basis, and we want to hear from them about what's happening in their local market. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
So thank you, Rick. So Rich Sassman from Indiana, I'm going to start with you. So Rick referenced historically low interest rates. We've never seen anything like this before. Are you seeing this in Indiana? How's that influencing your market?
It's crazy. It's producing not necessarily more buyers, but the buyers can go higher with their what the pre-approvals are, and because of that, prices are just skyrocketing on these homes. And People moving from other states with the low interest rates. And Indiana's capped at 1% of your home value for property taxes. So Illinois, right next door, California, have a lot higher property taxes. So they can get that much more house with the same payment, and it's insane. I have clients that move from our neighboring state next door. In a 30-year mortgage, they can pay 70% of their mortgage off with the savings and taxes that they're paying in Illinois right now, and I'm sure California is pretty similar to that.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the real estate industry and your community?
Yeah, I live in Crown Point, Indiana. We're about 35 to 45 minutes outside of Chicago. So you get all the great things of being by a big city, sports teams, concerts, and yet you get the quietness and low taxes of being away from the big city.
Very cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We had Esther Clark from Utah, and obviously the market is insane there. So she wasn't able to join us today, but I was going to ask her about in this busy market, high demand and low supply. We're seeing that everywhere. And she said it's also happening in Utah, and that while they have a lot of inventory comparatively, they're still seeing less than normal, about a third less than normal. So that was an interesting fact too. Now, Alan from Florida, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your community?
Hi guys, thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it. I am born and raised South Floridian down here in Southeast Florida. I currently live and work in Boca Raton. It's where our office is. We have a small team here. 6 agents cover the Southeast region, from Fort Lauderdale all the way up to Jupiter and Vero Beach. So a lot of the Southeast region of Florida, and we are seeing pretty much the exact same thing. Super low inventory. I was checking the numbers year over year. We are down 48%. But sales are up. We're up 31%. Go figure. Like I said, we just have so many people coming here, and we cannot keep up. Our average days on market's like less than 2 weeks, and prices have gone up about 66% year over year in some areas. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. People are definitely seeing a lot of equity in their homes, which is it's amazing. It's really the American dream.
Mm-hmm. And in California, we are not having enough construction. We don't have enough homes to keep up with demand. So are you seeing this also in Florida with the construction holdup?
Yes, so not only are the lumber prices affecting all of that and the shortages, but we also have a shortage of land here. In the Southeast Florida region, you know, most of South Florida is the Everglades. So infrastructure is usually the problem, and building the stable lands to have all the infrastructure that we need as our communities grow and build. That's what's taking the most time. We weren't really prepared for the influx of people, and we're definitely seeing all of that take a little bit of time. You know, 18 to 24 months per home for building now. That's what we're seeing in the market.
Yeah, and Rick, you mentioned this in our podcast we had last week, where the only commodity you can't make more of is land. And so are we seeing this nationwide too then, Rick?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, Christina. You can print more money, you can generate more Bitcoin, but you can't produce more land. It is limited. There's only so much of it. And as population continues to grow, well, in our communities and around the world, there's a greater demand for it. And, you know, what Rich was talking about was, you know, he's talking about we don't have enough inventory, and yet we're still having record high sales. Alan mentioned that as well. And it makes me wonder how many homes would actually sell if we had the inventory to meet the true need that we have for real estate. And a lot of people listen to this think, well, is this really a good time to buy then? Well, I think it's the perfect time to buy. And the reason why is because you want to buy in a market where home values are rising, right? What's the greatest fear of any buyer, whether it be a real estate purchase or purchasing a car? You don't want it to drop in value. And so when markets are rising, that's the time that you want to explore other opportunities, other markets, and make the purchase because you want to benefit from that appreciation. You know, what Rich was talking about with low interest rates, I think so important because that benefits both a buyer because their payments lower and more of their payments going to principal and less going to interest. But it also benefits the seller because more people can afford to buy their home. And that's a great opportunity for anyone in today's real estate market.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know. Thank you, Rick. So we're going to go to Heather Bennett in Arizona, one of our neighbors. We know you're getting a lot of us Californians. So Heather, yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your community?
Sure. I am actually a California transplant myself.
Okay.
So I moved from the Central Coast area of California. And our community is just amazing. It's great weather here. We have about 360 days of sun a year. We've got all of the professional sports teams, anything you can think of. We've got the food festivals. We've just got a lot of really great things going on. There's something for everybody here in this community. And I couldn't be happier to have picked such a great spot to settle in.
I just got excited when you said food festival, so I'll be there in a minute.
Yes, you can eat your way through the valley.
Well, you have me sold. So on the Rick Fuller team, we recently posted an infographic that said lumber costs have gone up like 337% in the past year. And so how has the high cost of materials affected your community and available housing for buyers?
So, when we talk about this increase in supplies, we of course think about new construction first and foremost, right? And we think about all of the pieces of the puzzle that go into making a house. And so people automatically go to lumber and drywall and tile and things like that. But there are also some components that people don't really kind of think about as part of that process. So like appliances, we're having a hard time getting those, water heaters. A lot of our homes, new construction, are going to smart homes. And so the electronic components for those are difficult to get. So it's really slowing down that new construction process. And it was mentioned, 18 to 24 months for a home. I have some clients right now who are waiting for their home. They put an offer in last November. We're hoping it'll be completed in August of this year, but
Wow.
we're hoping. So our new construction builders have gone to lottery systems, which I'm sure is probably something that we're seeing across the nation. We're also seeing new construction builders put in escalation clauses because basically the housing to build a house has gone up between $36,000 to $38,000. So, a house that went under contract last November is now a higher price today. So they're building these escalation clauses in. We've even seen some builders cancel contracts because they know it's worth it to give back the earnest money and then put the house on the market to someone else that'll pay a higher price. So there's that. And then people also don't consider the fact that resale has an impact is impacted. So again, the flippers, the appliances, the supplies. So we always kind of think of it in terms of new construction, but it's impacting our industry across the board.
Mm-hmm. And so are we seeing this across the nation then too? Is it the same circumstance with new builds across the nation? Everyone's nodding. Yeah, everyone's been there. Totally. So Amy Frazier, you're next on my list. You're from North Carolina. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your community?
Sure, thanks for having me. So I'm Amy Frazier. We work in the greater Charlotte market, specifically up at Lake Norman. So we are seeing a mass group of people from everywhere, including Californians, coming here because we really afford the ability to live 20 minutes north of Charlotte and be close to an airport, big metro, sports teams and such, but you can actually live on the lake or close to the lake year round. So it's very much a live, work, play sort of atmosphere. And we own a property management company as well. And we see a lot with transplants moving here, looking to rent and buy, but being able to service both those groups.
Mm-hmm. And we are seeing a ton of multiple offers. I sold my house a couple months ago and I had 15 offers. And even before I went live on the market, I was getting offers. Can you tell us about what's going on in North Carolina with this aspect of the industry?
Sure, it's really wild, and I think it changes basically week to week. Our playbook changes a little bit, so we're really having to stay proactive and really reach out to, for one, our attorneys who are able to draft new addenda for us to be using and really kind of keep on the pulse of what's going on. So here in North Carolina, we have this thing called coming soon status. And it's a great feature for getting advanced marketing about properties. The kicker is that you can't go in the property when it's incoming soon. So we've really had to be strategic in being very transparent with our clients and saying, whether they're local or they're coming from across country, there might be not an opportunity to look at the house you want to make an offer on. Like we might have to do it sight unseen. And so really talking with the agent across the table, so relationships with other agents is so crucial in today's market to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what playbook they're going to go by, because every seller might have a different playbook and their agent. So being ready to coach our clients through what making offers and coming soon looks like, what it looks like on the first day on the market. Obviously, it's going to be a multiple offer situation. And so just really guiding them and being that expert consultant that we are through these uncertain times, and then winning on the other side, right? Helping them, coaching them, being realistic, and getting them that success that they're looking for by ultimately getting the house.
Mm-hmm. And Rick, we've seen a lot of COVID restrictions and then not knowing what's coming next. And are they releasing some of the restrictions? Are we tightening them? So how does that play into selling right now? Because if someone's moving out of state, they probably will be selling a house here. So what does that look like in the near future?
Well, Amy's right on. We see our days on market to be very, very low. And that has tremendous benefit for those that are selling their home. Because in a typical market, you might have your home for sale for a month, 2, 3, 5, 6 months, and then finally get a buyer. And today we're seeing in the state of California, on average, 7 days on the market, if I've identified a buyer. So that's less inconvenience during a time of transition. It also helps because you typically have to do less to prepare your home for sale. And so somebody who is competing with lots of other homes for sale, and homes are not moving and homes are not selling, they got to do a lot of things to upgrade and repair and make improvements to their home. They literally have to offer a little bit more for a little less in that market. And today, not so much. Today, you can do minimal repairs to the property, usually cosmetic repairs in most markets, and attract a good solid buyer that's willing to pay you 100% of market value for the home. And so it's a great opportunity for those that are selling a property to really achieve 100% of what their market will bear for their property, probably more than what they've experienced in most other homes that have sold in their neighborhood in a reasonable amount of time with minimal inconvenience.
Thank you. Rick Lingas, am I saying your last name right?
Well, as you can imagine, it's close enough.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about you and where you live in Wisconsin?
I live in Madison, Wisconsin, which happens to be the state capital, the home of the University of Wisconsin, flagship university for Wisconsin. Been here all my life, 45 years in the business. Been a great run, and we think we've got a great product to sell here in the state of Wisconsin. The elephant in the room, of course, is always the weather. But based on climate change, we may like the weather from what I've seen. Anyway, Home to Epic Systems, if you're unfamiliar with that, it's a huge medical software group. UW Hospitals, Sub-Zero Wolf, many of you probably own some of those appliances, and many other employers. It's Dane County, which Madison is the seat, is about 560,000 people. Quick access to Milwaukee, to Chicago, to Green Bay, and to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. So all in all, nice. I've lived here all my life. If I found a better place to live, I'd move in a heartbeat, but I haven't.
That's amazing. And you said that you've been an agent for 45 years?
Correct.
So What's your opinion on this market? What's your take on everything that's going on? Because no one could predict that this was coming. So how is it affecting your business and your market?
Well, I think because there's so many agents, sometimes it's hard for each individual agent to make a living. In the times of COVID, where a lot of people lost their jobs, they said, well, I can jump into the real estate business. Of course, we have to deal with that on a continual basis. I've seen a lot of different markets. I mean, there have been other markets that have been challenging. In the early 80s, we were dealing with 15 to 17 to 18% interest rates, which was kind of an opposite problem of what we have now. I see, some people that are, you get the low interest rate and it's so low that you can stay in place. And some people that should sell decide to add on. And then what they do is they take a second mortgage, and maybe the money is 3.5%, which feels almost free. And then they don't go anywhere. So the market doesn't move as quickly as it once did.
So we're seeing a lot of prices, they're going over list price. Since we have so many multiple offers, it's just driving the prices up. Are you seeing that in Wisconsin?
Correct. Even in the small towns, Madison's the second largest city in the state. But if you go, let's say 50 miles north of here, you'll be in Baraboo or Wisconsin Dells or Reedsburg, and they're small towns. And even these small towns are getting multiple offers. I'm talking 10 offers for a property in a town that was 5 years ago, wasn't even on the map as far as should I buy there. So yeah, we're seeing the most I've seen is 40 offers on a property.
Wow.
And of course, if you're offering the asking price, you might as well go home. It's not going to happen. So if it's a good property in a good area and it's well built and it's been well maintained and a buyer doesn't have to do much, yeah, it's going to go for over the price. In this area, our prices aren't California prices, but it can be as much as $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 more than the asking price. And believe me, the listing agents, we try to put a number on it that we think is realistic. And then it blows out over $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 sometimes. Which leads to its other problems with appraisals and stuff, but those can be figured out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rick, for that answer. And so now I'm going to move on to Sean from Idaho. I mean, as a Californian, you're seeing a lot of our friends. So wave to them when they drive by your house, because you're going to see a lot of our friends.
Totally. The fun part about it is I'm actually from California. I'm a lot like Heather. I'm from Central California. I have a large real estate team in Central California still, and in Idaho we have a smaller team. But I'm seeing it. You're right.
Well, tell us what you're seeing. Like, what's the past year been like for you?
It's been very interesting. A lot of people have said uncharted territory. I've heard that so many times. But then again, I'm starting to hear more and more that this is 2004 right now, all over again in a way. But definitely from being from California and moving to Idaho, I'm in the Treasure Valley, they call it, of Idaho, and it is truly a treasure. It's called that for a reason. And one of the counties is called Gem County, GEM. It's like a gem. It's just amazing, beautiful area. I'm in Eagle, Idaho. Right next 20 minutes to Boise, downtown Boise. The reason why we chose to move to this location, we went all over the place. Went to South Carolina, not North Carolina. We went to Florida. We went everywhere we had family and stayed with family to see where we would want to move if we ever wanted to move. We ended up in Eastern Washington, jumped the border into Coeur d'Alene and said, what is this Idaho? We've got to check this out more. And that's what a lot of people have done, especially we get so many Washington, Oregon, and Californians moving over to our Idaho area. It's because it's still close to their state too. They don't, those would love to move to Florida, but we're so close to their family where they still do have some roots. It's easy to get back there. I know, I'm one of them. I have grandkids in California, and I'm always from the Central Coast. My grandkids live over in the Central Coast, over in Nipomo and San Luis Obispo area, and just love visiting. But anyway, so we're getting this influx of people moving over, and it's flooding the area. But the Treasure Valley of Idaho and Twin Falls, the areas that I live in, it's got 4 seasons. In the Treasure Valley, Idaho, it will snow. Usually doesn't stick very long. It's gone by the end of the day, if not for sure by the end of the week. And it's just beautiful. When that springtime comes around, I mean, it's just like everything shoots up with greenery so fast. It's so beautiful. We have skiing right up the hill. We have lots of lakes all over the place. Tons of rivers. The Boise River goes right up the street from my house, right through the whole thing. They have a green belt that goes from one city to the other. It's just a beautiful area to be. So I think that's why we're getting this influx of people moving over.
So the question is, what were the prices like before COVID versus now? And how is this impacting the residents who live there?
Yeah. So Jim County, Ada County, which Ada County is Boise, and Nampa, Caldwell areas where a lot of people are moving, that's called Canyon County. So Jim County, I want to say October 2019, right before COVID really hit, was 239,000. Canyon was 259, and then Ada was 352. We've jumped up almost 100. I want to say right around $150,000 since that happened. Ada County is now pushing, I believe, $465,000 median sales price. I'm sorry, $481,000 median sales price. The one that if people are still wanting to move to be out there thinking they could sell their home and pay cash, those days have pretty much gone. The locals, a lot of people really struggle because I will say minimum wage is still $7.50 an hour in Idaho. But very few people do make minimum wage. They usually make more than that. So those that live there, that have lived there all their life, are a little angry at a lot of the people moving over because they're driving it up, and now they're struggling to be able to buy a home. Californians, I'm telling you.
Well, obviously it sounds beautiful, so no wonder so many people are relocating there. Thank you. And Heather, I want to ask you the same question. What's the median house price where you live, and what's that market like for a buyer from California going to explore that area?
So I actually have several buyers from California that I'm working with right now. Matter of fact, was just out showing a house this morning to someone from there. And so we're seeing the median price go up. It sort of depends on the area that you're in. For people who are familiar with California, I always sort of equate it this way. Phoenix is kind of like the Santa Maria of Maricopa County. Scottsdale is like the Santa Barbara of Maricopa County, and Paradise Valley is like the Montecito of Maricopa County. So it sort of really just depends on what area you're in. But I can tell you for my house personally, it's up. I've been in this house right around 4.5 years, and it's up over $250,000 in purchase price. So as a real estate agent, I keep saying you people are out of your minds, and as a homeowner, I'm like, yay, yay, yay. So we do have a lot of Californians coming in trying to pay cash. As was mentioned, those days are kind of tapering off. There's not as much of a gap, but still on the outskirts of the metro area. So Goodyear, Buckeye, some of those places, you can still get a fairly good deal. But those are going to tend to be more new construction. And so we know those prices are up. So we're looking at about a $350,000 median price for, all of the county, just again, depending.
Good information. Thank you, Heather. And Alan, how about you in Florida? Are people more likely to purchase new construction or resale homes? What's more available in your area?
Right now, we really have only resales available. I would say in the entire Southeast region, I honestly just looked, it was about 600 new construction available total,
Wow.
which is basically nothing. As far as average sale price goes for a single family home, it was about $450,000, and that's in Palm Beach County.
Mm.
We have townhomes, condos. Also, we have a high population of the 55 plus community
Mhm.
down here. So property is a little bit cheaper on that end. So you have to kind of figure for that. And we also have quite a big luxury market as well. So that definitely plays a factor. So it all depends. We have, family communities. Typically for a single family home, 4 bedrooms with 3 baths, you're looking anywhere from 450 to 550 range.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And Rich from Indiana, how many days are you seeing houses on the market? So if there's a buyer from California going to Indiana, they have to act quick. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I'll tell you how my team basically does our sales, and this is pretty much, we'll tell you 3 to 4 days on the market for a decent home. So basically, we'll list the house on a Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll have like 6-hour open houses each day, and between that time, people can come in with their agents, see the home. Then it's shut down. All offers are due by Sunday, 5 p.m., let's say, and then we review them on Monday and accept one. We use that tactic on a house, and we had 22 offers in the 3 days, and sold for well over, with a full appraisal guarantee, and just bringing a lot of money to the table.
Wow.
So that's for instance on that, and it's just it's unlike anything anybody in my office of 48 agents or anybody on my team has seen. So.
Okay. Yeah. So competition is fierce.
Competition is pretty fierce right now, and sellers love it for the fact that
Right.
they don't have to stress. They just see a spreadsheet in front of them with offers and say, that one looks good, let's take that one. So it's really easy on them, and with inspections getting waived and everything, they don't have to worry about hiring our handyman. So all my contacts and whatnot are saying, hey, you got any work for me? And I'm like, no, they're buying it as is.
Uh-huh. That's a good point. So I want to throw that question to you, Amy. So Rich just talked about handyman and fixing up. So let's say someone buys a resale house and they do want to fix it up. And we've talked about materials. What does that look like in this new market?
It's tough. I mean, I will echo what Rich just said. Our contracts in North Carolina are as is anyways. And so the buyer has the right to a home inspection, and we always encourage them to do so. But if there is any negotiation happening, it's no longer having a handyman come in, but it's instead having a concession towards closing costs, from the seller instead of actual repairs. And I'll say what we're seeing is, because most people are doing renovation and staying put, like what Rick was talking about, or the trades are just hard to come by, because they're being pulled from new construction, which is going bananas, and then they're also being pulled from homeowners choosing to do those renovation projects. So it actually is helpful, I think, as an agent right now, to not need to try to coordinate all of that, because there is really no great assistance available, because they're being pulled on bigger, more expensive jobs than just a punch list type items for a traditional resale.
Mm-hmm. And Sean, I want to go to you. So you said that you were from California, now you're in Idaho. What are some different laws or nuances that the buyer needs to know about going to Idaho? Are there things that work differently that we don't have in California? What should we know about buying a home and the process?
Like the process wise? Yeah. So in California, we have our typical 17-day inspection periods, 17-day appraisal periods, 21-day loan periods. In Idaho, it's a little different. You're not really signing off on your inspection removal contingencies over here. Pretty much 5 days, 10 days max to inspect is what you get. And then it just falls off for the most part. It's just your processes are a little different when it comes to your escrow process. So you've got to be a little quicker on inspections, which is really odd, because I know in California, appraisals are the most difficult part right now, getting an appraiser out there to the house. for the properties that are selling, so many of them selling over in Idaho, we're not having a problem getting an appraisal out there, and they got to get out there quick. Inspectors put one in escrow this morning. They got inspection lined up for Monday. You can't have that, just doesn't happen in California. You're usually booked up a week out trying to get an inspection done. So usually getting your inspectors done, we get them done quicker, get that stuff out of the way. Oh, another thing in Idaho is appraisals don't get ordered until your inspections are done and agreed to, which I think is genius. Let's get that done, agreed to. And so that in California, appraisals are being done, everything, the buyer's spending all this money, and then all of a sudden they can't come to an agreement on inspections, and then it falls out of escrow, and you already spent the money on the appraisal. Everything's, it's just a little different. In Idaho, yeah, you do the inspections first, you come to an agreement on inspections, request for repairs, all that, and then they'll order the appraisal, and then the appraiser comes out usually within a week. So a little bit different process. I kind of like it. It goes a little smoother, I feel like. Get that stuff done and out of the way in the beginning. Set it up for success, not failure.
That's great information. Thanks. So Rick, how does someone sell their home in California? What should we, how should we plan? What's our strategy for helping them move out of state?
Well, you know, Christina, we just went around the call and asked about median home values. We've got offices throughout the San Francisco Bay Area and in Sacramento County. And the San Francisco Bay Area just came out that 6 of the 9 counties within the Bay Area have now exceeded $1 million on a median home value. Wow. The one county that is remaining, or there's a few counties that are remaining, 6 of the 9 are already over $1 million, is $10,000 away. We have 3 offices in that county. Contra Costa County is $10,000 away, and then the median home value will now be over $1 million in that county as well. San Mateo County, which is very close, what we know is the South Bay in the San Francisco Bay Area, has already exceeded $2 million as the median sales price of a property in San Mateo County. So what does that do? Money's not going to buy you happiness, but it's going to buy you options. And so if you've got a significant amount of equity, you have options. Options to remain in the state or to move to some of the other, maybe some of the other states that we're seeing so many of our friends and families transition to, that provides options to be able to do that. And so we're seeing that as part of the process. The best way to do the transition is, as we're working with you in the Bay Area to sell your property, you connect with one of our team members on Rick's Pros, and that way they can start telling you about what's happening in their market, their community, why they love living there. And if you find a community that you like, they can begin helping identify properties that fit your criteria.
Great. And Rick from Wisconsin, what tips do you have for people trying to navigate this market? When you have a new client, how do you set the expectations?
Well, number one, I always want to meet with them, either in my office or in their home. Number 2, I want them to get financially pre-qualified, and I would say that that's true across the country, or come with a proof of funds. If they're coming from California, where the prices are about triple what they are here, we love that because they often come with cash. So it's that part of it's nice. But we have to prepare them for the fact that, you know, you're out there and there's a lot of other people out there looking for the same thing. And part of the same thing now, and I'm in a higher age group than some of you, so my clients tend to be that way too. You know, they've been in a 2-story, now they want to be in a ranch, and the population is aging, and those are really in demand, and the builders are, you know, around the country. You've talked about how the lack of building, and that's true here too. But a lot of them are on small lots, and then they're 2 stories, and you know that has no appeal to a certain age group. So there is that, but yeah, they have to be prepared to jump in and not argue too much about the price if that's the property they want. You know, because if they get outbid, they get out. You know, they're not going anywhere.
Hey, that's great advice. And that's all the time we have for today. This has been so much fun. Rick, we need to do this again because it was awesome
Sure do.
talking to all of these agents. I
It's
learned so
amazing.
much.
It's amazing the consistency across the country, from coast to coast. And maybe if I can, just by show of hands, how many people are just, they don't have enough homes available for sale? By show of hands, how many homes in your community have gone up significantly in value over the last 12 months? By show of hands, how many homes are flying off the shelf in less than 30 days on the market? And so there's just this consistency, this thread of what's happening along the country. It's not just happening in California, and it's not just happening in Florida, but really everywhere in between. And so I really think the experts that came on the call today are pros. I mean,
Yep.
you guys are the consummate professionals. We appreciate taking great care of our clients. And hopefully, Rick, you'll see a lot more of them with all cash to be able to make that.
Isn't that true? Isn't that true?
It's certainly moving in that direction. It is
Yeah.
certainly moving in that direction. So guys, gals, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, so thank you all for taking time out. Obviously, you're extremely busy schedules. You all must be exhausted. So thank you for working so hard for all of your clients, all of our clients. This is the biggest decision of our life financially. So thank you for helping all of us find the home of our dreams. If you would like to learn more about these agents or communities, please visit Rick's Pros. It's rickspros.com, and you can find these agents and more. We have 115. So check out the communities and our agents. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Rick Fuller podcast to get the most pertinent information on this unique market. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, and we look forward to you joining us next time. Thank you.